This is not the outcome that I was expecting this weekend. I thought Clemson was going to beat the Hurricanes, and I thought the Dolphins would beat the Eagles. I was pretty clear all week last week, and so now we've got to figure out what, if anything, we've learned about those two teams. Did we learn something about the Hurricanes? I think we learned more about the Dabo Swinney and Clemson. But did we learn anything about the Hurricanes? Did we learn anything about the Dolphins? Are the Dolphins not exactly who we thought they were? Not to say they're not a playoff team. Not to say they're not fun as hell on offense to watch. Just to say maybe they're not exactly who we thought they were.
You kept saying last week, you kept saying the word elite.
Yes.
We've played two pretty good teams, and we got beat by them. They're a very good team, 17-17, right after halftime. Like, we can compete with any team, but when it came down to it, you saw what happened. Tua's throw to Mostert picked off to kind of seal the game. Those top teams are still better than us. But I say this, Hawk, can we get there? Can we continue to mature? Can this offense figure out how to run the ball against the top-tier line? Because we were just talking about it. OG's coming on next segment. We were talking about it. The Buffalo Bills and the Philadelphia Eagles are built very similar. Good quarterback, elite receiver, A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and a hell of a first-round pick D-line with Jalen Carter, with Graham, with this damn Hassan Reddick. I didn't even know who the hell he was. But
that dude has given them nightmares for a week. I think that they will think about him all the way up until the New England game.
He ruined the first half of football for us. That defensive front is what our Achilles heel is. That's what if you get a strong front that's not reading and looking around, that's just firing off the ball and whooping ass. I've seen it with Buffalo. Now I've seen it with Philly. That's our Achilles heel.
Now, I will say, you have to give some context to last night. The officiating was horrific. The Dolphins were dealing with a myriad of injuries. Xavier Howard didn't play. Connor Williams, I think you've determined now, any Dolphins fan, he's super important to be out there. Teron Armstead, again, missed a game. Those are losses. Obviously, Jalen Waddle was dealing with something. I'll tell you, on the officiating front, David Furones and the Sun Sentinel, the 10-0 penalty disparity in the Dolphins' loss to the Eagles Sunday night was only the 7th time in NFL history that one team was not penalized at all, while the opponent was called for double-digit penalties.
I can see that.
And not only did the Dolphins accrue a lot of penalties, most of which they deserved, by the way, the ones that they missed on the Eagles, to me, were glaring. They were glaring misses. So, again, I'm not a big blame the officials guy. It happens. I'm not telling you. You had a big drop in there by Tyreek Hill. Who knows what happens if he catches that pass. But there was chances. Like they tied it at 17. You felt pretty good about their ability to bounce back because it looked like it was going to shape up like the Buffalo game.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it didn't. They pulled even. They had a chance to kind of have the momentum going there, and it just never worked out properly.
500 yards a game offense at home, one of the best offenses in the league. They were putting up graphics and all those little cartoons they do on Sunday Night Football about the Dolphins offense. Before Tyreek's touchdown, they ran, I think it was 14 plays and had 36 yards. Before that drive where Tyreek scored in the back of the end zone. Beautiful throw, beautiful catch. We were still 17-17, and they had 100 yards of offense because Jerome Baker touchdown. The fumble that Nick Chubb called early. Like the defense, that's the thing. We were playing with a very good team. We were going back and forth, 2 5-1 teams, and you looked like, hey, this should be good. And then you just start to break down physically. And that's what I talk about, the physicality side. I talk about it Buffalo and talking about after this. They break down physically, and I know I gave Cater Kohu hell after the Buffalo game.
He was much better last night.
He was much better. But when I see Devontae Smith on Eli Apple, who was just signed during camp, and I see A.J. Brown on Cater Kohu, those matchups are not an advantage for the Dolphins.
Right. No, you've got an inherent advantage there for Philadelphia, and you go, okay, Well, let's say if Xavier's out there and Jalen Ramsey's out there and Teron Armstead's on the offensive line and Connor Williams playing center, like, is it different? Because that's what you're going to need by the end of the season. The question is, are you going to have everybody at the end of the season? Because if you can't stay healthy, like, it's not like they're holding guys back, I don't think, in order to be healthy. I just don't think people are healthy right now. So
fully healthy, that game's different. I don't even know if we win, but that game's different because I know that Jalen or X would have made those plays and been in position on a couple of those passing touchdowns. When A.J. Brown caught the ball, no one wanted to grab him.
They couldn't tackle yesterday. That was frustrating.
In the secondary, the front four was tackling. They were limiting, and they were talking about on things. The Dolphins can't run. Oh, yeah, and this tough Eagles team can't run either. Sealer, Wilkins, those guys up front. Agabo was in there a little bit. Those guys up front, and David Long. David Long was.
He had a game.
He was knocking the hell out of people.
Didn't have a game.
Yeah, then you get into it. But the front seven was playing winning football. The secondary were backups.
Yeah.
At the corner position. You tell me a team with Cater Kohu and Eli Apple, you're starting corners. I tell you a defense that gives up 30.
Especially a good offense. And they're facing a good offense.
And Cater made some plays. He went in there. He's the one that caused the Jerome Baker interception. Like, Cater, when I get on Cater, because he gave 3 touchdowns to Stephon Diggs. But now I'm looking at it last night the same way. I'm like, this man should not be outside a number 1 receiver playing against an all-pro receiver. He's a nickel guy. Go in there and fight with a little bit. And then you just see, like, after a while, these offensive coordinators, Nick Sirianni and them aren't dumb, Hawk. They see these matchups, and then they say, you know what?
We're going to exploit it.
We're going to exploit that. We're going to go after Kohu. We're going to go after Eli Apple. They both made plays, but they couldn't make enough plays. Where you tell me X and Ramsey are in there, that score is not 31 points.